Hi everyone, Carol Williams with Williams Immigration, back for another Monday morning edition of Beyond the Soundbite, where we talk about all things U.S. immigration. The first thing I wanted to talk about is the Department of State, who oversees all of the consulates and embassies worldwide, is currently testing a digital visa authorization out of the U.S. Embassy in Dublin. They are testing this they're calling it a digital visa authorization. It will replace the big sticker, the big visa that you currently get in your passport, the one that takes up an entire page. So they're currently testing this out. As with any beta testing, they are looking to see if it meets whatever their requirements are, if they think it'll be a good thing, if it's something that they want to launch on a more larger scale. They are currently testing it out of the Dublin consulate with a limited number of K1 visas. So if you're currently applying for a K1 visa out of Dublin, you may or may not be part of this beta test. So you may get a digital visa authorization. So that means it's all going to be digital. It's not going to be a sticker that takes up a whole page in your passport. So I will keep you up to date as I get any new information about the digital visa authorization and whether or not that this pilot program goes further or doesn't go any further. So hopefully it'll go further. And I like to see that the immigration agencies are using more digital, going online more. So hopefully this will be a good thing for all of us, for the agency as well as for us as counsel who are helping our clients. The next thing I want to talk to y'all about are, because of COVID, the Department of State, again, who oversees all of our consulates and embassies worldwide, extended the length of time that a paid visa fee is valid. So currently, if you paid for your visa fee prior to October 1st, 2022, it is still valid, but that payment will expire September 30th. So this month, at the end of this month, that payment will expire. In order for that payment not to expire and not for you not to have to pay again, you will need to do one of two things. You'll either need to actually schedule a visa appointment or submit an interview waiver application. So one of those things needs to happen in order for your visa payment to remain valid and you not have to pay another one. What you do not have to do is actually have and attend an interview by September 30th. So keep that in mind if you have already paid for a visa application and you haven't had an interview for whatever reason. Just keep in mind that payment will expire September 30th and you will have to make a new payment after that. The next thing I want to talk to y'all about are extraordinary abilities and our supporting evidence, so our EB1s. Immigration USCIS has come out and they have essentially updated their internal policy guidance, their internal policy manual. And what they've done is they've really tried to clarify the types of evidence that help them essentially get to an approval. And when they get to an approval, we get to an approval notice, right? That is our goal. So what they have done is they have gone through criteria by criteria, so step by step, and they have essentially laid out the criteria and then what their considerations are when looking at the evidence. They've also provided, what they consider to be some of the best evidence. So that has been super, super helpful because they've done it for each individual criteria. There has also been a focus in this new guidance on STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and math. It looks like they are continually updating their internal guidance, their internal policy manual, especially with respect to STEM occupations and STEM fields. So that is always helpful. The more information that we have in terms of how they are evaluating the evidence that we are submitting, I quite frankly find that very helpful. So that has been released to us, and so we will certainly be taking that into consideration when looking at evidence and looking at how we put our applications together. The last thing I want to talk to y'all about is a national interest waiver tip. Y'all have been sending me messages and letting me know that these tips are very helpful, so I'm going to keep providing them to you. As we know, the national interest waiver is one way, it is but one way to obtain an employment-based green card. It is a second preference category, which means that the individual must have a master's degree or higher. If they don't have a master's degree, they need to show they are extraordinary ability. They also need to show that their proposed endeavor, meaning their proposed career path, has both substantial merit and national importance to the U.S. Second, they need to show that they, as an individual, are well positioned to advance their specific endeavor or their career path. And on balance, number three, they need to show that what they are doing or what they desire to do is beneficial to the United States, such that the Immigration Service believes that it should waive the usual requirements of one, having a job offer, meaning being sponsored by a specific employer, and two, going through the labor certification process, which is essentially reaching out to Department of Labor for a prevailing wage, as well as recruiting for qualified U.S. citizens. So that is a national interest waiver. The tip that I have this week is specifically for our physicians. So this is specifically for our physicians. Physicians can apply for an EB-2 national interest waiver. One of the ways that they can do that is if they are serving in an underserved area, or they'll be working at a Veterans Affairs facility. So underserved area, the concept of underserved and that definition must be approved by the Secretary of Health and Human Services. So it is more than someone saying, well, I don't see a lot of doctors in this particular area, so I'm going to go there. No, underserved is determined by the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Excuse me. So they've issued new guidance that was effective on August 16th, so it's currently in play. So in order to qualify for the waiver of a job offer and the labor certification, right? So in order to qualify for a national interest waiver, the federal agency or a federal agency or Department of State Public Health must have determined that the physician's work is in fact in the public interest. The way that they show that, right, is that we have required contracts from the, in public health letters. Those letters currently need to be dated within 6 months immediately before filing the application. So these letters can't be from like 3 or 4 years ago. They've got to be within 6 months before this application is filed. That is only if the physician has not yet started the work. If the physician has started the work, or if they've actually completed the work, the 6-month requirement does not apply. So that is the tip. When you are looking at a physician and whether or not you qualify, you want to make sure that if you have not actually started this work, that your required contracts are dated within 6 months of filing. So that's for some folks can be a very tight window. We want to make sure that everyone is coordinated so that those contracts and those letters are dated appropriately, and that we're getting things into the Immigration Service within that window. So that's all I have for y'all this beautiful Monday morning. If you have any questions, you can feel free to drop them in the comments. You can use #replay. I do go back and look at everything. If you have any questions about your specific case, or you're an employer, you're looking to hire someone, you're not quite sure how to go about that, you can certainly reach out to the office. You can send us an email. You can reach out to us on our website. You can call us. Our number is 954-903-1337. If this has been helpful, feel free to share it with a colleague, and we are happy to help y'all. Have a beautiful Monday morning and a great rest